The mirror bowed like water and pushed back with a cold, invisible palm. Ava's scream strangled into silence as her reflection smiled without her, lifted its hand, and turned a knob that didn't exist on their side. A thin, black door swung open inside the glass, wind rushing out from nowhere, wet, winter cold, carrying a smell like an old basement after floodwater. Lucas lunged and grabbed her around the waist. Naomi shoved a dresser against the mirror. Carter fumbled the phone timer with shaking hands. The candles guttered sideways as if the room had tilted toward the glass. "Close it!" Naomi shouted. "Ava, close it now!" But the reflection, Ava's not Ava, only tipped its head, listening, as soft footsteps began behind that door. Slow. Patient. Coming closer. 2 days earlier, they had been ordinary seniors in Crestview, Ohio, bored between midterms and prom talk. The mirror came from a Saturday estate sale at the edge of town, a Victorian with a wraparound porch in bougainvillea strangling the railing. The seller called it a piece with history, which made Lucas grin and Carter roll his eyes. History was a kind word for the spiderweb of hairline cracks across the silvering and the way it seemed to hold its breath until you noticed it. A rumor came with it, the kind that floats through group chats and sleepovers until it feels like a dare. At midnight, light 2 candles and place them on either side. Miss the glass with your breath. Touch your right hand to the surface and say, "I open," and you open. Count to 60. If the glass cools, you've been refused. If it warms under your palm, a door has opened. Ask your question, but never invite what's behind to step through, and never forget to say, "I close," and you close. Urban legend, Carter said, shoving the mirror into Lucas's trunk. We do the thing, we post the video, it gets views, the end. Ava didn't say "S" out loud, but she didn't say no. The last few months had been a knot she couldn't loosen, a move after graduation, a dad between jobs, the feeling that something had been taken and replaced with a picture of itself. A part of her wondered if the rumor wasn't about ghosts at all, but about a way to shove the world into admitting it was bigger and stranger than adults let on. They set up in Lucas's attic room the following night, a space with sloped ceilings, posters that curled at the corners, and one small window that looked across to a line of dark trees. They turned off the lamp. Naomi lit the candles. Carter set a timer for 60 seconds, the screen bright as a second moon. The mirror swallowed their reflections whole and gave them back a version that looked half a beat behind. Ready? Lucas whispered. Ava nodded, heart pounding. A hush settled, the kind that turns a room into a held breath. She leaned in until her breath clouded the glass and placed her fingertips against it. It wasn't cold like glass should be. It was cool, then warmer. The warmth spread under her skin, traveled up her arm. She felt, absurdly, as if someone was warming their hands from the other side. She heard it then, a faint sound like a latch lifting in the next room. Carter's timer ticked. 45, 46, ask, Naomi whispered. Ava swallowed. Is anyone there? The warmth pulsed, like a yes. The surface of the mirror rippled, just a little, enough to make Carter flinch and Lucas step closer without realizing. A thin, vertical line appeared in the reflection, right where a door jamb would be, and a gleam of space opened, dark, deeper than a shadow, with that flooded basement smell pouring through it. 58, 59, Ava drew a breath to close it, the reflection didn't. Her not Ava stared calmly back, lips unmoving as a pale hand reached from the darkness behind H. And rested on her shoulder. From inside the mirror, the doorknob began to turn. The air in the attic pressed heavy, as if every breath had weight. Ava stumbled back from the mirror, her chest heaving, but her reflection stayed close, a half-smile stretching wider than it should. Behind it, the dark doorway yawned, and the sound of footsteps paused, waiting, listening. Close it! Say the words! Naomi snapped, pushing Ava toward the glass. I close and you close. Ava's voice broke, thin and trembling, but the reflection shook its head, lips sealed. The warmth under Ava's palm didn't fade. The door inside the mirror hung wide open, as if daring them to wait. The timer shrieked. 60 seconds. Then silence, and yet the mirror didn't release them. The candles flickered violently. Carter cursed under his breath, shoving his phone into his pocket as if the glow was making things worse. Lucas dragged the dresser tighter against the glass, though it scraped the floor like nails. For a moment, the attic seemed to settle, still, breathless, then came the knock. From inside the glass, 3 slow taps. Polite as a guest at the door, Naomi screamed and grabbed Ava's wrist, yanking her hand away. The warmth snapped cold, so sudden it burned. The reflection blinked out in a ripple, leaving only their wide-eyed faces staring back. The black door was gone, but the knock came again, muffled now, as if from behind the attic wall. They bolted. Down the narrow staircase, through the living room, out into the cool night air where cicadas buzzed like nothing had happened. Lucas's parents were out for the weekend, and the house stood too quiet, too normal. They huddled by the car in the driveway, watching the lit attic window, waiting for movement. None came. This was supposed to be fake, Carter spat. Some chainmail ghost story. That, he jabbed a finger at Ava, wasn't part of the game. I said the words. I tried to close it. Ava's voice was small, "Br. Maybe you didn't mean it," Naomi muttered. Maybe it knows. That night, Ava tried to sleep in her own bed, but her room felt strange, foreign. The mirror from the estate sale wasn't there, but every surface, her vanity, the black screen of her laptop, threatened to ripple with her not reflection. She left the lamp on and pulled the blanket over her head. Sometime past 3, she woke to the sound of dripping. A slow, deliberate plink of water on wood. She swung her legs off the bed, heart thudding, and followed the noise into the hallway. There was no leak. No spilled glass. Only the full-length hallway mirror her mom had hung by the linen closet years ago, and there it was again, the knock. Soft. Patient. From inside the glass, her reflection lifted its hand, pressed a palm flat against the mirror, and smiled. From behind the glass, a voice whispered, low and certain, "You opened the door. Now you keep it open." By morning, Ava's eyes were bloodshot, her sheets damp with sweat. She hadn't slept. Every time her lids drifted shut, she saw her reflection move first, mouthing words she couldn't hear, pointing to the side of the mirror where the seam of that impossible door waited. At school, she tried to act normal. The chatter in the hallway washed over her, locker doors slamming, laughter that felt too sharp, teachers calling roll. But in the reflection of every classroom window, she caught the twitch. A tilt of her head she hadn't made. A smile without reason. A blink just out of sync. By lunch, she couldn't take it. She dragged Lucas, Naomi, and Carter behind the gym, her voice low and frantic. "It followed me. It's in every mirror. Every reflection. We didn't close it right." "Then we finish it," Lucas said firmly. "We go back. We say the words together, all of us. That's how we close it." Carter shook his head. "You're insane. I'm not going back near that thing." Naomi's voice was thin but steady. "If she's right, it won't matter where you hide. It's already here." That night, they returned to the attic. The mirror waited where they'd left it, cracked silver swallowing candlelight like an open throat. They gathered around the table, candles lit, the pale wax dripping. The air pressed heavier than before, as though the house had been waiting. Lucas went first, palm against the glass. "I open and you open." The surface rippled, instantly warm. A door appeared again, blacker than shadow. "Now," he hissed, "together." All 4 pressed their palms flat. "I close and you close." The door shuddered. The warmth flickered. For a moment, relief sparked in Ava's chest, then the voice came, clear and close as if the speaker stood between them. "Too late." The candles bent sideways, flames stretching toward the mirror. Lucas was yanked forward, his forehead slamming the glass. His reflection grinned wide, eyes rolling back. The others tried to pull him away, but the mirror flexed like water, sucking at his hand. His arm let go. Ava screamed. Lucas's body convulsed, a low whisper spilling from his throat, not his words but something older, wetter, pulling through his lungs. The mirror's door yawned wider, a dark flooded room visible beyond, water up to the knees of a figure moving closer. A woman, soaked hair plastered to her pale face, eyes black as rot. She lifted her chin, humming that same tune Ava had heard in her hallway 60 seconds. Carter shouted, fumbling his phone. "Pull him back!" Naomi's flashlight clattered to the ground, rolling. Its beam lit the woman's hand reaching through the door, dripping, fingers curling around Lucas's wrist, and with one jerk, Lucas vanished into the mirror. The glass rippled once, then stilled. Only their three reflections stared back, except there were four. The attic was silent except for the sound of their ragged breathing. Three teenagers stood frozen, staring at the mirror where Lucas had been dragged away. The glass reflected their terror, but it reflected him too. His face lingered in the back corner of the glass, pale and dripping, eyes wide like someone screaming underwater. He pressed both palms to the inside, mouthing words they couldn't hear. Ava staggered back, clutching her chest. "We have to get him out." Naomi shook her head violently, tears streaking down her cheeks. "Didn't you see her? He's gone. He's already gone." But Carter stepped closer, shaking his head. "No. He's right there. He's alive. We can pull him back." His hands trembled as he pressed them to the glass. "Lucas! Hold on!" The mirror pulsed warm beneath his palms. The black door opened again, and the sound of rushing water filled the attic. The woman was back, soaked dress clinging to her skeletal frame, hair veiling her face as she pushed against the threshold. Behind her, Lucas writhed, waist-deep in black water, arms reaching desperately toward them. Naomi shrieked and pulled Carter away, but the glass flexed, tugging harder. Ava grabbed both of them, dragging them back until they collapsed on the wooden floor. The candles blew out all at once, plunging the room into darkness. Only the mirror glowed faintly now, like it was lit from inside. Then Lucas's voice filled the room, but not from his body. From the glass. His reflection pressed forward, his lips moving in perfect sync with the sound. "Help me. Please. Just open the door." Ava's blood ran cold. His mouth pleaded, but his eyes didn't. They stared at her with a stillness too calm, too patient. Carter shook his head. "That's not him. That's not Lucas anymore." But Ava couldn't move. She felt the pull like a hook sunk deep in her chest, dragging her closer to the mirror. She bled forward, her hand rising as if not her own. Naomi screamed. "Don't touch it! Ava, don't!" The attic seemed to breathe with her, each inhale pulling her closer. She was inches from the glass now. The reflection smiled, not Lucas, not quite. Its lips moved slowly, whispering something she almost recognized. "It wasn't help me. It was, you open the door. You can't close it." Suddenly, the attic door slammed shut, rattling on its hinges. The room shook. The floorboards groaned as if something huge moved underneath. The mirror bulged outward, glass bending like a water balloon ready to burst. Naomi grabbed Ava's arm, screaming her name, but the mirror split down the center with a deafening crack. From the fracture, black water gushed out, flooding across the floor, soaking their shoes, rising ankle-deep in seconds. The drowned woman's face pressed against the glass from the other side, her eyes rolling white as her lips peeled into an open scream. Ava realized with horror, it wasn't just a mirror anymore. The door was no longer contained, the attic filled with rushing water, swallowing their screams, and as the last candle went out, the mirror whispered in the dark, "The door stays open."